23-year-old Nate might slap this Nate. I get upset at Nate. Yeah.
Who the hell are you? And he was just walking by, and then he looked at us and was like, we were inside the airport. We were at the gate.
Somehow fine wine our asses.
Who gives a flying bleep?
I love this. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
The busiest man I know, and that is saying something. Nate Burleson, what do you do in the week off before the Super Bowl?
Oh, man, I try to relax. I've been keeping a zen about me. My assistant who works for me at CBS Mornings, he's like, Nate, you're pretty chill this week, even more chill than usual. Like, I have to reserve all of the energy that I can, because once the Super Bowl week starts, it just keeps unraveling. And slowly but surely, it's going to cause anxiety, a lack of sleep. So right now, I'm just composing myself. So it's a whole bunch of chilling. I'm not leaving the house. I'm not partying. I haven't had a drink since New Year's, so I'm actually feeling good when it comes to that. So I'm just relaxing, gearing up for the big week.
Let's get it. This is Vegas. Like, I never thought I would see the day of Super Bowl in Vegas.
Man.
And I know you're too busy to actually take it in, and Sir Mix-a-Lot, like big old butt here. If you weren't too busy to take it in, would this be your kind of role? Super Bowl, Vegas, perhaps, dare I say, American excess at its greatest.
Yes, no doubt about it. Listen, man, this is what former players dream of, because we all pull up to the Super Bowl, right? Like, we're all there every single year. The retired ones, we act like we're still playing. We high five and hug. We go, sign autographs and get a little check. We go do an appearance, speak to some people. They put money in our pocket. Then we party at night, wake up late. It is a wild week for what it's worth. But now that I'm working in media, I can't do any of those things. I've turned down every opportunity to make some mailbox money. I have said no to every party. And I'm talking about the best parties. The ones that we read about in the magazines, I've been invited to those because they're like, yo, one, Nate, you got a decent name. But more importantly, they're like, he's a CBS guy. CBS has a Super Bowl. We want him to be at our party. And, oh, man, if this was like 23-year-old Nate, maybe even 33-year-old Nate, maybe even 41-year-old Nate last year. But right now, I have to manage my sleep. I've never, ever in my life until this week scheduled naps in my itinerary. And I don't know if that is a sign of age or maturity, but either way, I'm locked in.
23-year-old Nate might slap this Nate. he might get upset at Nate. Yeah.
Who the hell are you?
Like,
I
don't know if this is going to be the greatest thing ever, the worst thing ever, a combination. Like, I've been known to partake in Vegas in the past. Before your mind jumps too far down the road of what that might mean, I just mean that I come from a long line of gamblers.
Okay.
Like,
gotcha.
And Vegas has this way of making you feel like a king or an absolute peasant, depending on its mood. And I don't know where this is going to end up. After, like, ask the NBA guys, NBA All-Star Weekend in Vegas was a thing. Like, this could be crazy.
I never thought about that. The way you put that, they have a way of making you feel like a king or like a peasant. That is as spot on as it gets. One moment you're flying high, right? The drinks are flowing, the food is good.
Food,
you might even be winning on the tables. The next moment you're hungover, you can't eat because your stomach feels funny, and you realize you just lost $500 because you thought you was hot on the roulette table. Like that is spot on, bro. And I think the mark of maturity is knowing that
the difference.
You can enjoy Vegas and not be either. You can be right in that pocket. You don't have to be a king. You don't have to be a peasant. You can just enjoy it and walk away with your pride, your dignity in your wallet.
Not many people know how to toe that line. And I learned the hard. I went at 21. Like, I was 21 years old. I went almost immediately after my birthday to Vegas. I busted out on like the second of 4 nights and just walked the streets. Like, it sucked. It was terrible. And then went for my stag, and my best man and I got married about a month apart. I was best man at his wedding. He was best man at my wedding. And we combined our stags and had like 30 dudes. Everyone won. It was a time. But I will never forget the two absolute extremes of what it felt like in those moments, because that's what Vegas can do to you.
I'm gonna tell you about one trip that I had. I've been to Vegas a bunch of times. We had some good times. But I remember one time me and my brothers went, and we were leaving Vegas. We gambled a little bit, but didn't lose a lot of money. Like, it was one of those trips where Vegas got us, but we got Vegas. So it was like, I walked away and looked at Vegas like, all right, till next time. Okay, all right. But we got to the airport, and this was one of the craziest sights we've ever seen. So I'm going to step off camera, and you're me and my brothers at our gate. We saw a guy walking by, and I'll tell you, and I mean this sincerely, he was the most disheveled human that we have ever seen. And he had one shoe on, and he was just walking by, and we all tapped each other, and then he looked at us and was like, and we thought he was an actor. We was like, yo, is that for real? And he just sat there and stood there like a zombie for like 5 minutes. Security had to come over and be like, sir, are you okay? He had zero idea where he was. We were inside the airport. We were at the gates. So this dude got his ticket, made it through the TSA, and then got by his gate and just forgot who he was, where he was, and what was going on. I don't even think he made it on the flight. And that's when I realized, like, all right, I just can't be that guy. As long as I'm not that guy, I'm good.
My favorite moment ever from Vegas was my boy Glocks, who played some hockey in Europe. He's the type of guy that you want at your party. Just he has a way of bringing people in. And I remember, like, I don't know, I couldn't sleep because it's Vegas. And about 6 a.m, I wandered down to the lobby of the hotel that we were staying at during my stag. And I'm kind of like stumbling, like that kind of like, what's going on? And one of those riding vacuums, they drive the vacuum. It's like a John Deere, but it's a vacuum to clean the carpet. Yeah, on the casino floor, drives by me, and sitting on the back, Glocks is waving at me. Hey, Timmy, meet Helen. Helen, this is my friend Tim. Just, he's on the back of a vacuum. He had made friends with the woman.
Wait. So was there somebody right now, or did he name the vacuum?
No. There was someone riding, like doubling him on the back of their vacuum, and he had made friends.
And she didn't mind. She didn't mind.
No, she was good. She said, "Hi, Tim." He's like, "Yeah, he's the one getting married."
That's my guy. That's the one I've been telling you about.
Yeah, that's the dude I was telling you about.
Like they've been kicking it for hours. That's the one. That's Tim right there.
Right.
That's crazy.
All right, so forget Vegas for a flash. Now that you've been a part of a few of these Super Bowl things, for folks that are sitting watching this bad boy that have never been to a Super Bowl in their life, what's the best part of a Super Bowl?
The best part of the Super Bowl is, I don't know. I feel like football has a way of knocking the cool out of the coolest people. And what I mean by that is everybody becomes a fan. Everybody turns into the 15-year-old version of themselves. Like, the NBA is solid, don't get me wrong, but even courtside at an NBA game, whether it's the All-Star game or the finals, you're still cool as hell. You know what I'm saying? Baseball, I mean, it has its own vibe. NHL, that's like blue collar sport. But football, it doesn't matter if you're Barack Obama or The Rock. It doesn't matter if you're Jennifer Lopez or Dua Lipa. Like, you are going to show up and fall right into the fandom. And there's so many celebrities there, whether it's the week leading up, I'm talking about parties during the day, parties at night, really parties all day long, or it's the actual game itself where there's this nonstop celebs walking by and everybody's just enjoying themselves. There isn't no, it's more like, oh, they're here to watch the game. Right. So am I. And that's what I love the most about it. I've never seen that many people from all walks of life in a concentrated area and nobody really batted an eye. And I think that's the dopest part.
Yeah, it is about the fans, and without a doubt. Like, even I remember covering one in Jacksonville, and the Eagles were there, and they hadn't been there in a while. And they're just,
I remember that one.
They're just singing like Eagles fans, fly Eagles fly. Anyway, and listen, Jacksonville ain't exactly Vegas. It's not exactly Miami. Like it ain't the
Yeah.
lap of luxury if you've never been there. But
It was a
Eagles
little struggle
fans,
bus a little bit
yeah,
at times in
yeah.
Jacksonville.
But Eagles fans just kind of made it amazing because they were just
Yeah.
wandering. They were in that euphoria of we are at the Super Bowl, and that's kind of I'm with you on that one. Um, Actual game. People
Mm.
keep asking me about it. And the thing that I keep coming back to, Nate, is how do you bet against Patrick Mahomes?
I knew you were going to say that because I've been asking myself that same question. And to be honest, look, last week I picked the Ravens to win the game.
Me too.
And part of it was, to be honest, I wanted to see Lamar Jackson win a Super Bowl. Like I just wanted him to, hush all of the critics, let him get that one Super Bowl, and now they can just shut up forever. Even though I feel like his season did that, and his MVP award, it will highlight the fact that he is elite. But I thought a Super Bowl would just really close the door on every single, critique of him. But in my head, even up until the moment the producer said, "All right, Nate, you're next. Who do you got?" And we put that on our bottom third, I picked the Ravens. In my head, I was thinking, bro, why are you betting against Mahomes? Like, you know this. Like, I'm having this inner dialogue all week long. Nate, you know better. Like, you talked to him during the season. He told you that we're built for this. Mahomes looked you in your eyes and said, "We're good. Everybody else is panicking. We'll be all right." So time and time again, we're sitting here trying to find reasons why. Oh, well, they don't have Tyreek. Receivers are dropping the ball. Travis Kelce is getting older. The offense doesn't have the same flow. It's the defense carrying them. Who gives a flying bleep? Mahomes is the greatest of his era and might be going down as the greatest of all time. You remember, it seemed like yesterday when Tom Brady retired, and we were thinking, there is no way in AT double hockey sticks that someone will win as many Super Bowls as Tom Brady because of the main reasons, right? You got to play a long time. You got to have longevity. You got to be healthy. This dude Mahomes is about to go for his number 3, his third. Like, that's unbelievable. So 4 Super Bowl appearances in 5 years. He possibly could pick up his third. I just feel like I'm done. To answer your question, if you're asking yourself that, should I bet against Patrick Mahomes? I'll answer it for you. To all you fans out there, the answer is no. Like, stop betting against him because he's going to continue to prove you wrong. He finds a way. Even the last play to really seal the deal was Mahomes-esque. Like, it's late in the game. I believe it was, what was it, 3rd down or 4th down, and they throw that bomb to Marquez Valdes-Scantling. And it's just like, no, who throws that? Yeah. Who takes that chance at that point in the game and lofts one up over the top of a DB? Mahomes does. Yeah. So I just feel like we have to all just stop betting against him.
Yeah, I was like Sam Cassell, like running down the court, if you know what I'm talking about. I hope that's
I know exactly what you're talking about. There was another post that I'm pretty sure you saw because you see everything. They posted a picture of Mahomes and they said, this man is going to create so many Super Bowl-less quarterbacks, just like Jordan did with the rings. And and that one sank in because MJ, he tormented some of the greats. Mm-hmm. And Mahomes, I think in this era, there's going to be a lot of guys 20 years from now, they're going to look back and be like, no, son, seriously. No, I was a really good quarterback. I even had the Pro Bowl year. There was this guy. His name was Mahomes. He's going to be telling that to us. There's going to be quarterbacks telling that story to their kids and grandkids. Yeah. I was a good quarterback. We had a Super Bowl team, but we faced Mahomes in the playoffs.
It's crazy because I keep saying that he's on GOAT pace. That's my line. Like, he's on GOAT, and he is. If you look at the first 7 seasons of Brady and you look at the first 7 seasons, it works out to 96 games apiece. And Mahomes' numbers are remarkably better than Tom Brady's numbers. The
Yeah.
problem lies, and even having that conversation, like if you were to tell Patrick Mahomes at 16, 22, and 24 that we would actually open the book on a GOAT conversation with Tom Brady, give him what Tom Brady did, he'd be like, sorry, I'm in on that conversation. Like,
Right.
there's actually someone in, but he is actually in on the GOAT conversation. He is on GOAT pace. The crazy thing is that Tom Brady in his final 16 seasons after the first 7 got better. And therein lies the challenge for Mahomes. Can you keep this GOAT pace? And can you, like Tom Brady did, somehow fine wine our asses? And I'm not talking about a dirty wine. I'm talking about getting better with age. Oh, look at Nate. Yes. And find a way to get better. But you're right. Like, just look at the quarterbacks in his conference right now. Like, I know Brady had Manning, but Allen, Jackson, Burrow, Herbert, Tua, now CJ's in the mix, just in the AFC. And
he had Russell there this year too. I mean,
and he gets there every year, championship game. And now, like, it's crazy to say that we've opened the book on a GOAT conversation, but I honestly think it's legit.
It's 100% legit, and you painted a really strong picture. Like, imagine having that conversation with him at any age. That is a heavy weight to place on a young player's shoulders, saying, "Hey, we're going to have this GOAT conversation about you when it comes to Tom Brady." You'd have to I'm the chosen one. Like, I'm the chosen one. Yeah. Like, because that's what it feels like, right? To say that's like grabbing Braun at 19 and saying, hey, we're going to start having this MJ conversation. And we're going to start having it in 5 years, not at year 15. Yeah. We're going to start having it at year 6 or 7. That's wild to think. But, when you talk about them doing what they did the first 7 years of their career, before you even told me that Mahomes' stats were better, I feel like he is doing it at a more impressive rate. I think his lift is much heavier. I'm not saying he doesn't have talent and his coaching isn't the same. You can say that talent may be equal. You can say that coaching may be equal. But I'm just saying, when you talk about the specific moments where it was Mahomes versus the scheme, there are times where Mahomes was like, all right, the scheme isn't working. The play call isn't working. Let me do what I do best and go. Yes. Let me sidearm it. Let me throw a no-looker. Let me extend the play. He's more athletic than Brady, so he has more opportunities to create with his legs and really impress us that way. Brady was he was such a technician. He was a surgeon. I mean, he was Alonzo in training day when he was talking to Jake. He was like, hey, I'm surgical with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was Brady in the pocket. So sometimes it was the scheme in the play that worked perfectly, and Brady made the right decision, threw the right ball and perfectly placed. But I just feel like Mahomes' lift has been different.
That right there, I love that debate. We don't have time for it, but if folks want to have it in the comments, I am all about that debate right there. The heavier lift, like the teams that they have. People forget that when Tom Brady won his first Super Bowl, folks were wondering whether they'd go back to Drew Bledsoe. Like, there was like a legit argument about whether or not, and he grew into his role, which is why I always say it's never bad for great quarterbacks to hold the clipboard, because lest we forget, that conversation was a legit. In New England, they were saying maybe we should go back to Bledsoe. Like, crazy. Right. Early matchup stuff, bigger determining factors when we get to this game, or when we get to the end of this game. Will it be Brock Purdy a bigger factor, or which defense is actually better? Because I feel like that could be a debate too.
It's Brock Purdy. Okay. It comes down to Brock Purdy locking in and being exactly who he has been. Brock Purdy's going to have to play his best game ever. You can't have too many mistakes. You can't leave too many points on the field when you're playing against Patrick. Just because if you know it comes down to the end of the game, he's going to take you out. Like, Patrick will he will win the game for you in the last 5 minutes. 2 minute drill. You can
Or
leave
the
him
last 13 seconds,
the
Nate. Sorry.
last
Yeah,
13
my bad.
seconds. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't mean to
Exactly.
interrupt,
But you look at Brock Purdy and what he was able to do, and not playing like with a healthy Debo. Like Debo was out there, but he was just out there. He was out there willing and dealing. He was like, all right, Debo's not really active as I want him to be. I'll make sure Brandon Ayuk is having a day, and he did. There was a moment where Bosa went up to Brock Purdy in the locker room. I just saw this clip a couple of days ago. Bosa was like, "Hey man, you think you be this good?" And Brock kind of paused and he said, "Man, but I can do better." That's his mindset. Like this is just he's the same dude that he was then now, and I think that speaks to like his mindset. He's not happy to be here. He's not happy to be the starter. I think in his head, he's like, "Oh, y'all think I'm good? Man, I can do better." And if he's locked in like that and he's composed and the bright lights don't get to him, yeah, this game is on Brock Purdy. Like he has to just. I think Brock Purdy got nerves of steel, man. I'm a huge Brock Purdy fan.
Yeah,
Huge. So I think this game is on Brock.
Okay. That's interesting. And in the basement with Nate Burleson has two more questions. One, the coaching course carousel has stopped. Bill Belichick went for multiple interviews. All vacancies are filled, and he does not have a job. Why?
I think I don't want to be ageist, but I do feel like age has something to do with it. I mean, look at Seattle. They just hired a super duper young quarterback, right? Yeah. So it seems like everybody's getting younger, looking for the boy genius. There's a couple of coaches that move around that have some experience. I believe Dan Quinn landed with the Commanders. But when it comes to Belichick, he carries his legacy. He carries his knowledge. But he also carries like this traditional approach to how he's building a team. And if I'm an owner or a GM and I'm looking at bringing in a coach, I want to bring in a coach that can mold his style to the makeup of my team versus coming in and trying to make us adjust to how he does things. There's a couple of examples. You look at some of the Patriot coaches who have left underneath the Bill Belichick umbrella, like Matt Patricia, for example. Good dude, great guy, met him a bunch of times. But there were people that were saying in Detroit, he's trying to turn us into the Detroit Patriots, not his version of the Detroit Lions. And I just think when you come with that much like healthy baggage, that winning baggage, that legacy of baggage, when you come with that, it's hard for you to adjust. And maybe these teams are like, you know what? We want somebody that can bring a new energy, new vibe, and really make us who we are, not bring another system to our organization. That's what I think. I could be wrong. But I also feel like, you know, what's meant to be happened. And he's supposed to sit out for a year, decide if he wants to still keep coaching. And then next year he'll have more opportunities. It happens every single season. Coaches get fired.
Right. One word answer.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that you're wrong in your assessment. I also think that maybe NFL owners might be bleeping up by thinking that. Is that the right way to go about it? Yes or no? Because like, I just, as you're saying it, I'm like, yeah, Mike McDonald fits. As soon as I saw him on, like, I know he spent a year at Michigan as the DC, and then he ends up on the sidelines with the other Harbaugh brother. And you're looking at him and like, that's a head coach in the NFL. Like, maybe I'm stereotypical. Maybe I'm just looking at this good looking young dude, the defense, the number one. And I'm like, he's an NFL head coach. I guarantee it. And there he is in Seattle, 6-year deal, I believe, too. Like, are NFL owners overthinking it when there's a dude out there like Bill Belichick? Like, who cares what he brings?
Yep, you're right. I think they are. I thought he'd be the first coach to get hired, and we're sitting here and he doesn't have a job. So I'm right there with you. He's a legacy, and if I'm hiring a coach, I want Bill Belichick. You know, it's a shake of the dice when you get these young guys.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
It's also ego too, right? Because you know when Bill Belichick comes in, people will talk about Bill Belichick.
That's a good point too.
All right, we have a little deal. I'm going to pull back the curtain here. For a lot of people, at least the way I look at our little deal is because you're busier than the Amon family on In Living Color. I I try and slow things down for you. I bring the topics so you can just sit down and shoot the bleep and we just talk football. But I'll try and bring like a set group of topics so that here's the tee up, Nate, smack it down the fairway. And now that you have the week off, at least from football, I know you're still working that morning show that's busy as hell, but I have to ask the homie, is there anything that you have wanted to talk about? Football, non-football, something that's bugging you over the last 21, 22 weeks that you and I have sat down every Thursday and or Friday and talked that I have not addressed in any way, shape, or form. Now is the time, my dude. Is there something there?
All right, let's do this. So I have three things. And we'll start with football. And they can be quick. You know, the question about quarterbacks being managers of the game came up a lot this year, and we didn't really dive into it. So I'm going to give you a few guys. You answer the question. Game manager or not? Okay, let's start off with Tua Tagovailoa.
This year, he showed me something that I hadn't seen before. I don't think he's able to do that with a different offense. I think he's a product of the system, the coach. That so was Tom Brady to start. I'm okay with that. But I think right now, if you put him on the Chiefs, it wouldn't be the same as if you had him in Miami. I think he benefited from having Tyreek, Waddle, and his head coach around him. And I don't know long-term if he is that dude, but he showed me something.
I got a few more guys, and I'll get to my next question. Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, and then the last one, Brock Purdy. Same question.
Cousins is a game manager. Dak, that's a tough one. I feel like Dak's both to both his benefit and to his detriment. Like he slips in and out. He's not consistent. And you see that in what we're talking about, where he puts the game on his back and then he's forced to go back and being a game manager. And last one, Brock Purdy, game manager trying to become the next guy like Brady, like Russell Wilson, who was carried by a defense early and evolved into legit quarterback who can carry your entire team. In fact, he might be close, but you just want him to manage the team right now.
I like that. Really done. Well done. Next, NBA. Greatest dunker of all time. This could be easy.
In-game, out-game.
In-game.
Vince Carter.
Okay, we're on the same page. I had to have, a Canadian-based question in there.
Climbing Mount Matumbo, man.
Like, yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
What he did to Frederick Weiss was damn near assault.
Yeah, you ain't lying about that. Okay, so we went from NFL, NBA.
Yeah.
Now we go a little bit off the grid. I'm Harley home, but always repping. I'm your Canadian cousin across the border, so we got to keep it pop or not. Drake, is he hip hop or is he pop? Because we heard Mos Def, he had some comments. So that's my question. Or is hip hop pop too? So I want you to answer it. You talk to me, fam.
My answer to Mos Def was the game has changed. I respect the hell out of Mos Def, but like I watched a 2K commercial with a beat that back in the day when you and I were young would have never even seen the light of day on commercial music radio. And people like Mos Def tore down this wall and now have a beef with people walking on the other side of the wall. I don't get it. To me, I'll never forget when Run DMC showed up on Saturday Night Live. Listen, I know I'm some white dude in Toronto, but I grew up on Motown music, and my brother was a DJ, and that's a fact. I have a history with hip hop, and when
I can't concur.
Thank you. And when Run DMC showed up on Saturday Night Live, I was like, "Yo, I can't believe that a hip hop group is on Saturday Night Live." So that's where Mos Def is operating from. But I'll tell you one thing. Busta Rhymes said something went like, I'm going to say 20 years ago. And Busta said, if you're not relevant, it doesn't matter what you think. And that changed my opinion because I love pure old school hip hop. I don't know a lot of guys are doing it anymore, but the old school hip hop dudes never had the opportunity that these
That's a
kids have.
fact.
And
That's a fact.
Drake toes that line. Do I want him to say some stuff that I heard on, self-destruction back in the day? Yeah, I
Right.
don't know if you remember self.
Yeah.
That might be before
Of
your time,
course.
my friend.
Self-destruction. Ahead for
And for
self. Come on, man.
self-destruction.
Yeah, I
Today's
remember. Come
topic,
on.
self-destruction. It really ain't the rap audience that's bugging. It's one or two. So
Yes.
that was never available to them. Do I want Drake to say some of that stuff? Yes. But he's doing real hip hop
That's a fact.
at a
He got bars.
level
He can
that we've
rap. He's
never.
a lyricist, and he can get into that bag if he needs to. And I'm okay with Drake jumping genres and him being pop occasionally. And I don't care if they want to call somebody commercial. One thing about hip hop, and I'll leave it with this: hip hop is at times a walk-in contradiction, because for the same things that one person may do and they forgive, they destroy another for doing it.
Right.
It's hard to elevate in hip hop because they constantly want to pull you back down to this same space that it was on when it was guys rapping on the corner.
Right.
They tore up MC Hammer for doing commercials and going big and crossing over. Now the hardest rappers, the so-called trap rappers, are doing commercials. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, y'all wouldn't let Hammer live, ruined his career. But now we see all of our favorite rappers on all the commercials with the corporate 500 companies. So I just feel like hip hop, we got to do better. Let's keep embracing each other and building it up.
The evolution is to open it up as far as you possibly can. And when you do that, sometimes there is the conflict. I love that. I love this. Oh my goodness. Yeah. We went way too long. I appreciate you though. I think the week off is like hot. And when we end up doing that podcast that maybe we've talked about in the past, this is the argument we are going to spend an hour on.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Although I think we agree a little too much. We gotta fight some more.
We can make up some fights like Stephen A. Skip Bayless. We can orchestrate something.
Yes, we can do the marionettes. All right, homeboy. Always great. I know you're super busy on Super Bowl.
Talking next week.
Things. Hopefully we can catch up for just a wee bit on Thursday and or Friday. Nate Dogg, appreciate you. And we'll do it again next week.
All right. See you next week. I don't know what that was. That was crazy.